finally finish my glitter gown. Right, let's do it all again. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm very glad to have you back here. It is time, I hope, to finally finish my glitter gown, my Teuta Matoshi inspired dress. We have a bodice. I ordered some larger underwires, which I think was a good idea because now I have much less of that bunching up underneath here, and I think the little bit of creasing that is still happening will straighten out once the dress is finished and on, because it obviously needs to mold to the body a little bit. Next, we need to attach some type of skirt. Now, this is where I'm a little bit nervous, and this is also why it maybe took me a little bit longer to get to this stage. I don't really have a plan when it comes to the skirt. I'm thinking I should probably, just to maximize the amount of skirt I can get out of my fabric, I think I should do a gathered skirt rather than a circle skirt. Even though I love circle skirts, I think this gown just calls for poof at the hips. So I think a gathered skirt is the way to go. And I am of course going to build it up out of the layers of fabric that I did the bodice as well. So it's going to be a layer of satin, then several layers of the filler tulle that I got, and then hopefully several layers of the glitter tulle on top. And then I'm just gonna hope that it doesn't come out too bulky at the waist and I can fit everything into this bodice. I am kind of considering maybe doing a slit down the front, like at the side, but I'm not entirely sure. I think it might be a little bit too much and it will make things a lot more complicated. I think a slit in a dress with that many layers maybe isn't the best idea, so I might not do that. I'll have to think on that a little bit more. I'm just gonna start by taking my satin and seeing how wide of a strip I can get and gather it down. Let's get started. I ordered 3 meters of this, but I did of course cut out my bodice from that width as well. So I think this is maybe 50 centimeters, 40, 50. So that means that this, what is left here, should be approximately 3 times my hip circumference. Maybe a little bit more, but I think that's actually an all right amount of gathering for a really theatrical and full skirt. I hope it's not too much. I have to consider this is the under layer, but this is also the thing that's going to give it a little bit of structure and make it poof out. I might actually do this in a bit of a weird order. So what I am going to do in any case is iron this first to iron out the folds. Then I think I'm going to just iron the hem so that I can cut it to the right length. This is the only layer that's going to be hemmed as well, because tulle doesn't need to be hemmed, you can just cut it doesn't fray, which is great. While I'm ironing, I might as well iron in the hem. And then I think I'm just gonna start by gathering the whole thing and not yet sew my center seam, my center back seam, and see how big and poofy the skirt is. And that way I can always go back and just cut a chunk off the side and make it a little bit less full. I'm a little bit out of my depth here, but you know what? I'm just gonna have to go ahead and experiment. It took forever because I kept trying to iron this, but apparently polyester satin is impossible to iron. So it took me way too long, but I'm just gonna have to accept that there are some creases in it and hope that they won't show once I cover it in layers and layers of tulle. So I think it should be fine. But we have a skirt. It is hemmed, which is great because this frays like crazy, but the inside now looks nice and neat. I have gathered the top, and I am definitely very glad that I used the full width because I don't think it's too much at all. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and close this up to where the zipper is gonna be, and then I can move on and start cutting out my tulle layers. Okay, time to check in. So my base skirt is more or less finished. Oh, here we go. I closed up the back. I finished this seam just so that it wouldn't completely disintegrate on me, and of course I want the inside to look nice on this as well. Since I don't have a serger, I just used an edge finishing stitch on my machine to do that with. And I also finished along the top here where it's still open, where I have the slit that my zipper is going to go into, so I did also finish the sides on this so that there are no fraying bits left. These little threads that you can see hanging is from my gathering, and I'm leaving those for now because I still haven't determined the width of my skirt. I'm going to do that when I hold it up to my bodice. And what I did next is I took my base tool, which is this pink stuff right here, and I took the entire length. I had 10 meters minus the bits that I used for the bodice. So I made 3 panels of 3.5 meters wide. I cut them to the right length, so the very same length as the underskirt, a touch longer, like a centimeter longer. So now I just need to gather these up. I'm gonna gather on the end of the selvage because that's a little bit less pretty, and again this doesn't fray, so I'm gonna leave a nice clean cut edge on the bottom. Basically do the exact same thing as I did with that skirt. Close up the back, and that should leave me with 3 gathered poofy tulle skirts of my base tulle. So then I will layer those on top of that, try it on, or at least put it on the mannequin, see how poofy it is, if anything needs adjusting, and then if everything's good, I can go in with the glitter tulle. I have my glittery skirts and I don't have a whole lot of this fabric, so I had just enough to make 2 skirts that are slightly less gathered than each of the filler tulle skirts would have been. So I'm trying to determine what would be best for this top layer of the dress. If I should place them next to each other to make one big densely gathered skirt, or if I should place them on top of each other and make 2 layers of less densely gathered skirt. So this is both of them next to each other. I think it looks cute, but I do think it really shows a lot of the pink underneath, which makes it a very different color from the top, which is something I was a little bit worried about anyways, but it's quite pronounced now. So let's see what happens if I do 2. I mean, ideally, of course, I would do 2 heavily gathered layers, but I just don't have enough fabric for that. Okay, something like this. I think this settles it actually. I prefer the look of 2 slightly less densely gathered layers, which is surprising. I would have thought I would prefer the single, more densely gathered layer. But the thing is, it doesn't make much of a difference in the volume of the bottom of the skirt, since it is just a straight panel after all. And I do think color-wise and also visual interest-wise, the double layer of glitter just looks much better. So now I just have to figure out how to attach all of these together and how to zip up the back. You can see there is a gap here in the back where the zipper is gonna go, and all the skirts are split down here as well. I think that's the next step. I pinned all of the skirts together at the waistband. So I have a complete skirt here, front to back. I'm thinking of basting this together, or actually that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna baste this together. And right now, this is a very beefy waist section. So I hope that basting this will squish it down a little. And I'm kind of thinking maybe I should have done this skirt by skirt, like attach one, baste it, attach the next one, baste it, and go like that. Oh, I don't know, should I go back and do that? Do I just attach them all together in one fell swoop? One by one will be better. Oh no, all that work for nothing. Right, let's do it all again. Okay, let's try again. I have sewn these all to each other, one by one, individually, and I must say it is a lot better. It is still a pretty hefty seam, but not nearly as much as it was before. So I think now that the skirt is more or less completed, I can attach it to the top right here. And I think I'm gonna do this just in the most basic way imaginable. So I will just attach the skirt and the bodice right sides together, and then when I flip it, it should be attached, and then I will just probably whip stitch the lining by hand. Let's attach this. Okay, here is what we have so far. Here she is, the gown. I just tried it on just now. It fits perfectly, which is fantastic. That's the biggest thing, and that is good, so we're good there. However, when I put it on, I immediately regretted doing a gathered skirt instead of a circle skirt. I'm just not a fan of this. It's like the same shape as my hips, like it goes out and then straight down. Not the look that I was going for, not the look of most Teuta Matoshi gowns. They would be more of like a poof and then an A-line. So it would be a gathered circle skirt. I should have done a gathered circle skirt. Thing is, if I were to do a gathered circle skirt, which is what I did on my wedding dress, by the way, I would have needed much more fabric, and there is a limit to how much fabric I'm able to afford, especially for a project like this that is purely for fun and not even probably gonna be worn anywhere. Yeah, I also can't go back and do it now because this is already cut into this shape. So I do still have some tricks up my sleeve to maybe make this look a little bit more natural, or like it was meant to be this way, and a little bit less, I'm gonna say comical. I'm gonna use the word comical. It looks a little bit comically poofy right now. One way I think I could fix this is I got this ribbon. I have this ribbon that I thought I might use to make straps with, which I still want to do because it's quite bare up top. It's another thing I've noticed. I do feel like it could benefit from a little bit more happening up here. So I think I'm gonna do the bow straps, and then maybe if I do this around the waist as well, it'll just look like it has more of a reason to be so poofy in there, if that makes sense. We'll try that. But first, I will just go ahead and whip stitch the lining to the inside of the skirt. Fold it over, whip stitch that, make sure it looks nice and neat, and then put in the zipper. But I think I'm gonna do all of that tomorrow because it's getting quite late. So I will see you tomorrow morning. it is done. My very first evening gown, my very first Teuta Matoshi inspired pink glitter tulle gown is done. I don't really know what to say. Let me start by saying I am very proud of the work I've done on this. I'm very proud of myself for jumping into this project and seeing it through till the end. That being said, I'm not very happy with the results and I feel so bad because I spent 3 videos just hyping this up and now, now I don't like it. You know what, that's okay, that is the process of learning a craft. I mean, I'm still new to sewing for all intents and purposes, and this was definitely much more advanced sewing than I've ever tackled before, and I'm very glad that I did it. There's a lot that I did for the first time here, and those things I think I definitely could have done a little bit better. Basically, there is a lot of room for improvement here. Overall, I think the dress is great. I still really like the concept. I love the fabrics that I use, and I think those came together really well. I'm very happy with that. It's just the way the dress came together, I guess, was not exactly what I had hoped for. The bodice is a bit lumpy and bumpy in parts. I had a little bit of a think about why I think that is, and I think I just didn't attach the boning securely enough. The boning is now only attached to 1 layer of fabric, only to the lining, and I think it would have been better if the boning had gone through the outer fabric as well and just would have been in there a little bit more securely. So that the outer fabric won't slide around so much. I also think maybe it doesn't fit onto my body as well as I thought when I did the mock-up. Of course, this is a different material, the one that I ended up using, than the one that I used in my mock-up, and I also didn't actually make a closure in my mock-up, so I wasn't entirely sure what the fit would be like. So yeah, the bodice is just not smooth, and I think with a dress like this, it's very important to have that very crisp shape. I'm slightly disappointed by that, and also the second mistake, which is the biggest mistake I've made, and I should have known better, honestly, is the skirt. It should have been a circle skirt. It has to be a circle skirt. Don't know what I was thinking. Whenever I've done gathered skirts before, I usually don't really end up liking them. I was hoping to save on fabric cost a little bit by doing a gathered skirt, but this type of skirt with so many layers that's supposed to be really poofy, it just doesn't work that much. There is indeed a lot of added bulk here around my waist, like a lot of bulk around my waist, which also makes the bodice look a bit strange. I tried to disguise it with this ribbon, which I think did work wonders. It looks much better this way than it did without the ribbon. I shouldn't have to hide stuff, you know, in a dress. I do, by the way, really like how it looks from the back. I think it's gorgeous from the back. The back is great. I do still absolutely adore this fabric, and I do think that the dress is really fun. This whole experience, I did enjoy it a lot. I had so much fun making this, and the fact that it didn't completely turn out the way I had hoped has, if anything, has just motivated me to try again and make another one. And I already have an idea forming in my mind. I want to do a spring themed one. I guess a sage green fabric with lovely embroidered lace, like this colorful like meadow flowers embroidered lace, you know the type. Over top, I think that would be wonderful, like just this whole meadow gown. I would really like to do that, and do a circle skirt, and possibly just make it all out of filler tulle, like the less expensive tulle, and only have the lace come down like a portion of the skirt and make it kind of fade out, similarly to what I did with my wedding dress. I think that would be gorgeous. The idea juices are flowing in my mind. I think this might just be my first step into the world of gown making, and for a first step, I think I did pretty well. It is not perfect, but you know, life would be boring if everything we did was perfect on the first try. So I am very excited to do this again, to make another beautiful gown. I will display this on the mannequin because I think it looks great on the mannequin, a little bit better than it does on my actual body. Probably have it out in my room here in my sewing studio. And I want to thank you guys so much for joining me here. It's been a journey. I personally really liked this format of creating something. It gave me a lot more space, both physically, like time-wise, as well as in my mind, to do this properly, to finish the insides the way they should be. That is another thing I'm really proud of. The inside of this looks great, and this is a dress, if the fit was nicer, I maybe would have felt comfortable to sell this dress, which is eventually the kind of level of sewing I want to get. Feeling confident passing my dresses on to others, knowing that they are sturdy and structurally sound. So I think I am getting there, and that is something I'm really proud of with this dress as well. But yeah, I'm gonna end the video here because I'm just talking and talking and talking forever. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this journey. I certainly did. There is more to come because I really like this. If you did enjoy, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want to see where I progress from here. There's another video here that I think you might also enjoy. You can go watch next. Thank you so much for being here once again, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye!